Hello, Paul Smith, President of the Filipino-American Society of Iowa, and I am here with Dr. Megan Srinivas.
Hey everyone!
She is an infectious disease expert, and I want to talk about, we have our second vaccination clinic coming up on Saturday, February 26th, 8 a.m. to noon, right here actually. We're at the Corinthian Baptist Church right now, and this is where we'll be doing the vaccinations. In addition to talking about what we're doing this Saturday, I wanted Dr. Megan to talk about some things that are new news that I've been aware of, and that Lisa, my girlfriend, has been aware of as we've been dealing with some other things. And I talked with Lisa about some of this, but I also wanted to get the professional medical opinion on these things too. And so, first of all, individuals like my girlfriend Lisa has Crohn's disease, which means she has a compromised immune system most of the time, all the time. And every 6 weeks she has to get an infusion, which even compromises her immune system more when she does that. Those individuals are really on a high risk category for getting COVID anyway, no matter what.
Well, from what they knew before, because I had gotten the vaccine so early on, I'm also an educator, so I was in one of those first rounds. I had my first one on February 13th of 2021, and my second one was on March 6th of 2021, so I was in the very early batches of it, and they did not actually test the vaccinations on people who had were on immunosuppressant drugs and had autoimmune diseases. So they really didn't know how that would play a part in their bodies. Well, we assumed that those two vaccinations, I was fully vaccinated, just like Paul was. But later, just recently, actually, their last vaccination clinic, learned from one of the Dr. Megan who was there. She said that actually for his two, I should have actually had a third one to be a completed series. And then I still needed a booster on top of it. So I really should have 4 doses. You know, he should have his 3, but I should have additional ones because my body, it needs that, because of those immunosuppressant drugs, I need to have those extra doses to build up those antibodies.
So people who have been immunocompromised, like Lisa, meaning that you're on medications that keep your immune system down, or that you might have conditions like cancer or Crohn's disease, or a matter of other conditions that might keep your immune system down, you're more susceptible to getting sick, just in general, from the cold, from the flu, and in this case, also from COVID-19. And so in those type of people, we often need to give them additional doses of vaccines. The flu vaccine has a higher dose as well, shingles vaccines. So this isn't unusual. So in the setting of COVID, we did studies, and the results came out about a year ago that showed that people who have these types of diseases or are on these types of medications need not 2 doses of the vaccine, but actually 3 doses of the vaccine. So these include people who have had organ transplants, who have had cancer or on chemotherapy, who receive infusions for autoimmune diseases like Crohn's disease. So there's a whole list of diseases out there, a whole list of medications out there that can make people qualify for 3 doses instead of just 2. So for somebody who has a completely normal immune system like me, I got my 2 doses of the vaccine, and then I got my booster 5 months later. So total of 3 doses. Someone like Lisa should have gotten 3 doses to begin with. So the first 2 doses on the normal schedule, and gotten that 3rd dose about a month later. And then get another one when the boosters came out 5 months later. So have up to a total of 4 doses. And the reason the booster is so important, not just for people who are immunocompromised, but for everyone, is we've seen that without the booster, you don't get the same level of protection against these newest variants, that you're really susceptible to getting infected, even if you've been infected before, because of the new variants out there. That's why the booster is so important for everyone.
Well, and the other thing that we learned in the process, because both Lisa and her daughter Sophia had other physical issues. Now, Lisa thought at first that it was related to her Crohn's disease, which was a natural assumption with her condition, but as it turned out, it was not.
Well, I was diagnosed in early January with COVID, and my daughter was as well. due to the fact that I have Crohn's, I'm also on an immunosuppressant infusion therapy every 6 weeks. So my immune system is kind of shot a lot of the time, and I can pick up illnesses much more easily than the average person, and even a cold can really do a lot of damage to me and make me feel very sick. When I got COVID, it caused a lot of gastrointestinal issues, and it mimicked what looked like my Crohn's, but what it was really doing was just creating a perfect storm, really, that it was infecting my intestinal tract, and it just continued to fester. Even though my symptoms then got better from COVID, my gastrointestinal stuff did not, and it really flared up what we thought was my Crohn's, and that was continuing weeks after I got better. So ended up being a long journey to what we thought I was on the uphill and doing so much better, and then it ended up that I ended up getting very much sicker and ended up being in urgent cares and emergency rooms and on the phone with doctors, and finally admitted to the hospital with what we thought was all Crohn's, and it ended up being that none of it was consistent with Crohn's. It was actually COVID, just had created a perfect storm in my intestines, and it took me just until this is the first week I've been back to work.
What you're talking about is long COVID, and long COVID can happen to anyone. It doesn't matter if you're immunocompromised or not. I myself, I got COVID back in March 2020, right when the pandemic started, for patient care, and I had long COVID. I had it for about 11 months, pretty badly, and then I actually got the vaccine because that's when the vaccine then came out, and that's when I started to feel better. And there are studies out there that show that not only does getting vaccinated to begin with help to reduce the chance that you'll get long COVID, but if you currently have long COVID and you haven't been vaccinated, but you had the infection, now you have long COVID symptoms, getting the vaccine now can actually help get rid of your long COVID.
So if you were not vaccinated and you got COVID and you're still seeing ongoing impacts of that, you can still go get vaccinated, and that may help overcome that.
Exactly. And long COVID, it's really tough for people to realize sometimes when they're having long COVID, because it can be everyday things. So in the case of Lisa, she has Crohn's disease, so she might think her GI issues are just part of her everyday issues. But in reality, it could very well be long COVID. There are other things that we see. We see brain fog, we see anxiety, depression, blood clots, higher blood pressure. It can impact any part of your system.
It's scary.
It is. And there are long COVID clinics here in Iowa, around the U.S., but here in Iowa, Cedar Rapids has one. The University of Iowa has a long COVID clinic, and so does Mercy here in Des Moines. So there are definitely places you can go to get care for long COVID, and there are treatments that we can give, but the most important thing is getting vaccinated has been the most effective.
Well, that gives a perfect segue for us to remind again that we have coming up this Saturday, February 26th, right here at the Corinthian Baptist Church, just north of downtown Des Moines on 8th Street. We have a vaccination clinic, free vaccines, the Pfizer vaccine, first and second dose, booster, and also vaccination that's suited for children 5 years and up. Those will all be administered from 8 a.m. to noon at our vaccination clinic here. And it is really easy getting here. In fact, we selected this venue this time because of its central location and its ease of access. It's got a big parking lot with lots of parking that's readily available, and it's free parking. You don't have to worry about it, and it's easy to get in and out of. So that's in your favor, and it's also right on the bus route. Now the DART bus people, they have this option where if you're going to go get vaccinated, you just tell the driver that I'm going to go get vaccinated, and you get to ride for free. And that's not just our clinic, though you can use that to come to our clinic. But it's to anywhere. Anytime that you want to go get vaccinated, you can use that service. Thank you, DART, for doing that. But there's literally a DART bus stop right in front of the church here, right where we're at. And so if you say, well, I'd go, but I don't have a way of getting there. If you can get to a DART bus stop, you get on the bus, say, I'm going to go get vaccinated, and they will bring you right to the front door of the church right out here.
26 steps, I counted.
So we try to make this as easy and convenient as possible, and you've seen a URL on the screen. There is a place where you can go and you can enter in. You can actually say what time you want to come in, and then that will make it easier for you to slip through as quickly as possible as well. And so walk-ins are welcome, but if you want to say, hey, I'm going to be there at 10 o'clock, I want to make sure you're planning for me, you can put that down and we'll plan for you. We'll see you. We'll be ready for you when you arrive.
And we have good snacks, granola bars, fruit,
Yep.
goldfish crackers, water, and honestly, bring the kids along, whether they need to get vaccinated or not, because they can get their vaccine, they can get some snacks, and we always have fun movies planned too.
They play videos here for the kids to watch and things too. So it's kind of a lighthearted area. And I believe you're going to actually be helping with giving some of the vaccinations.
I will be there. I will be there. We'll have so many of us on staff that even if you come in as a walk-in, it shouldn't take you more than honestly 10 minutes to get through the line based on our last clinic. And if you have questions, you can always come here. We're going to have pharmacists, where I have nurses, doctors on hand, so that way you can ask questions if you're concerned about getting the vaccine or the effects of the vaccine or anything like that before you make your final decision.
All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Megan.
Thank you.
And we will see you on Saturday.